So first of all, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Melissa Savage. I am a senior management analyst with the Bureau of Contract Administration, and my department oversees outreach and certifications. And we are working with LA28 in order to get local and small businesses in Los Angeles prepared to work on all the many projects that are going to come up with these large events that are happening in the city in the future. So thank you for being here. I'm going to turn this over to Jennifer Webster, who is going to start the presentation, and I will join you back in on the back end. So Jay, go ahead and start.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Jennifer Webster. I'm a management assistant with the Bureau of Contract Administration. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We're at an exciting and pivotal moment, just a few years away from welcoming the world to Los Angeles for the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. The 2028 Games are more than just a sporting event. They're a platform for creating meaningful economic opportunities for local, small, and underrepresented businesses. It's about making sure our local business community has a real shot at being a part of something historic. Today, Melissa and I will be sharing how the city, and specifically our department, is preparing to help ensure the 2028 Games are not only a success, but also leave a lasting legacy for our local businesses and communities. That includes encouraging businesses like yours to create or update ramp accounts, identify the NAICS codes that best reflect your services, and get certified with the City of Los Angeles, all in an effort to build a strong, diverse pool of businesses ready to support the LA28 Games. Next slide. Today's presentation is organized into six key sections. What is the Bureau of Contract Administration? Why did we reach out to you? What did we hope to receive? What did we actually receive? What do we do now? And final thoughts and a Q&A at the very end. Next slide. So what is the Bureau of Contract Administration? Our mission is to maintain a transparent and consistent contracting environment that delivers quality work in compliance with governing laws while encouraging an environment that promotes personal and business opportunities. Our mandate is to protect the city's interests by assuring that citywide personnel, service contracts, and public works construction contracts are administered and/or constructed safely and in accordance with contract provisions as required by federal, state, and city mandates. Next slide. What is our role in the 2028 Games? The City of Los Angeles Bureau of Contract Administration is working with LA28 to make sure that they are consistent with the city's goals of ensuring that local, small, and underrepresented businesses are meaningfully included in sourcing and bidding processes for the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Next slide. LA28 has outlined its operational needs and organized them into 10 distinct categories: ceremonies and events, human resources, construction and contracting, corporate administration, facilities management, food, beverage, and accommodations, games operations, marketing and communications, technology, and transportation and logistics. Next slide. Why did we reach out to you? First, we're identifying businesses who provided services within these key categories, who are interested in participating in the procurement process for the 2028 Games. Our goal is to connect with businesses like yours that have the potential to support the wide range of needs for LA28. Second, we need to determine how many of those businesses are proposal ready with active RAMP LA accounts, valid certifications, and appropriate NAICS codes, and identify newer businesses that may need support to become fully prepared for upcoming opportunities. And third, we're creating programming that caters to the needs of those businesses so that there is a large pool of strong businesses ready to work on the 2028 games. And now Melissa's going to talk about what do we hope to receive.
Hi there. Next slide, please. So when we sent out the initial call to action letter, there were two links, one for certified businesses and one for non-certified businesses. Our hope was to gather information for those to determine who was more advanced and who needed a little bit more help and who was ready to go. Next slide. Unfortunately, what we received, particularly on the certified list, was a little bit confusing. We got a lot of responses with invalid ramp IDs, 000 numbers, 111s, all sorts of things, or the names and numbers didn't match, or even just no number at all. We also had a lot of people checking certifications that when we went into their ramp accounts, they either didn't have, had never had, or they were expired or had been rejected. And then the last thing were the company descriptions. So those categories that Jay mentioned that LA28 had identified, we asked you to check which of those categories you fell into. And a lot of respondents checked every box. And so as I put in the comments here, if you sell beauty products, don't check facility management or human resources. We were really hoping that you would let us know the specifics of your business so that we could show LA28 how many businesses we had that met each of those categories. Next slide. So the question is, what do I do now? We did send a follow-up email asking people advising them that we had come across this problem and asking people to correct what we had found. And we did get an influx of people requesting certification recognitions in RAMP and applications online. We did get that, which is great. But it's not the whole picture because a lot of what we got still wasn't quite quite what we needed. We got applications online, but what was attached wasn't an application form. It was a copy of some other document, things like that. So what do you need to do now? The first and the very first thing you need to do now is to have a good idea of who you are and what you do. What services your business offers, have a very clear outline of what that is. And we need you to be honest with yourself and know the difference between what you want your business to be and what you hope your business can be and what you can actually accommodate at this point in time. I went to an event, this is an offshoot of this, not long ago with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they were talking to people who were working on fire recovery. And one of the guys was very, very blunt. And he said, I don't care who you talk to. I don't care who you know. If you're not in the system, you're not getting the job. And that's not usually how I speak to people, but what he was saying was true. How they find people for procurement is within RAMP LA. And how they find you is based on the categories of service that you provide. And so if it's not accurate, it's not going to work. It's not a fake it till you make it kind of situation. So one of the very first things you can do if you're interested in LA28 is to make sure that you have a valid RAMP account. Sometimes there was a program merger a few years ago. So if your company is a little older and you've been doing this for a while, you may have signed up in Bobbin, which was the old system, and it was imported into RAMP LA. Sometimes that created duplicate accounts. Some information came over, some didn't. So you need to go in, make sure you have an account, make sure it is valid, make sure that if you have more than one, there's a helpline within the system that you can ask for them to deactivate one of them, to make sure that every certification type you have is listed on there, and look at it and see when they were issued, when they expired, if they need to be renewed, if it was rejected for some reason, and work on rectifying those situations. You need to make sure the information is accurate. I cannot tell you the number of bounce back emails that we get because someone's email address is wrong. But the problem is that it was entered wrong, and we are not the ones entering your email address. So we want you to get this information, but we can't do that if the information that we're given isn't accurate. Make sure that the NAICS codes you have listed truly reflect the services or materials you provide. And I will touch on NAICS codes in a slide or two if you're not familiar with those. So go ahead to the next slide. one slide. Um, so NAICS codes, NAICS stands for North American Industry Classification System. This is a coding system for your business, and it tells us the type of business you do. So when LA28 has a proposal or an opportunity that they're going to put out, it will list the NAICS codes that they are looking for. The first two digits represent the kind of general overarching business, like construction or what's another one? Construction we work a lot with. That one's 23. I know that one by heart. So 23 is construction. Those are the first two digits. And then it whittles it down as it goes more detailed. So it may be construction for hazardous material removal. It may be construction with woodwork finishing. It could be any number of details, but that's what the lower numbers are for. So when an opportunity is advertised in RAMP, the person advertising it will list which NAICS codes they're looking for. And the companies that have those NAICS codes in RAMP will get notification that that opportunity is open. If a prime contractor is looking for a subcontractor, that is how they're going to find you. So you need to make sure, and a lot of the NAICS codes do have, as it says at the bottom, requirements for special licenses, permits, size limits. So visit the websites, do your research, make sure you know what you're asking for. You can go to NAICS.com or SBA.gov. Those are both listed there. The one that I put here, if you go to NAICS.com, that's a search result. All I put in was events because that was one of the categories. And these were some of the NAICS codes that came up. So you would look at this if you're an event company, and I see a few who are on here. If you're an event company, you would look through these lists and figure out which of these NAICS codes best describes the business that you do. You would look them up and see if they have licensing requirements or size requirements, those sorts of things. And then those would be the NAICS codes that you would put on your account. And then when LA28 is looking for an event producer for one of their many, many events, or even the city of LA as we get closer, when we put up the proposal or the opportunity, we're going to put those NAICS codes that we need, and that's how the system is going to find you. So this part is very, very important. Next slide. This is what it looks like for your certifications. Not all certifications are the same. Some of them we issue, some of them other agencies issue, some of the ones that other agencies issue we recognize, some we don't. It can be very frustrating. We're working on trying to streamline some of it, working with some of the cities that have like LA28 venues. But at this point, the main issue comes down to definitions of things. For an example, the local business enterprise certification that the city has is simply for the County of Los Angeles, but the one for the harbor, because they have a broader need, that one is for the 5 counties around Los Angeles. So you can see that the definitions is usually where we don't agree and why we won't recognize one or the other. This is a large business. It's been around for a while, this return that you're seeing. And you can see they're verified, expired, rejected, and new. New means that they've applied, but we haven't got to it yet. So you need to go look at your certifications and see what the statuses are. If they're expired, if they're rejected, you need to reapply. Look into what you might be looking to bid on and see what those bids are asking for sort of when it comes to certifications, and that should narrow your focus. The local business enterprise is applied through RAMP. The minority, women, and small business enterprise, those are still paper applications. There is a link that's showing on the screen at this time. That is to our website, and that is a document that you can go look at and see. It's like an exchange rate kind of layout. You can see if I have this from this agency, then I can get this with the city of LA and vice versa. Next slide. That's pretty much it. Do we have questions? You can either put them in the Q&A. I'm going to look through it really quick. Let's see. Will this presentation be shared afterwards, either as a PowerPoint recording or both? We are planning on putting the recordings online. We're not sure which website yet, but we will hopefully have this information and this PowerPoint available on our website. It seemed that when I signed up that events or ceremonies and events was not a category, so it's a little more abstract to choose NAICS codes like marketing. That can be. And for this, I don't remember if on the survey we had a I don't know or other category, in which case that would have been a more accurate response. But when we looked at the LA28 NAICS categories, the 10 top ones that we listed are very broad, and under that they get more and more specific. But those specifics aren't going to be figured out until we get closer to the date of the actual games. So, for instance, facilities manager, dormitory rooms, pool tables, pool cues, it could be snacks, it could be other things. So there will be things that fall into it, but you need to know, you need to answer the question at hand each time and not think too far ahead, because if they're searching for facilities manager, they really just want people that have facilities. That's what they're looking for in that initial search. And then when they're looking for the pool table vendor or the snack vendor or the Bath and Body Works vendor or whatever, when they get down to that point, those bids will go out with those specific NAICS codes. So just make sure that you are answering the question in front of you and not trying to, how do I say it? Not trying to outthink them or get ahead of the game, because when those requests come in, when those bids go out, they will be specific. The certification program, the link to the certification, I can't do it right now, but maybe someone on my team can put the link to the certification program. Do you mean the one for the exchange rate that I had on the slide? Maybe we can put that in the chat. For our certifications or certs that were listed as verified, the date was from a while ago. We have been continuously renewing and certified, but is RAMP notified only when we drop our certification? You should be getting notifications through RAMP automatically when your certifications are going to be expiring. Now, that is also, but that's going to whatever email address is put into the RAMP account. And I cannot tell you how many times we have email addresses that are from former employees because nobody updated it. So no one's getting those notifications. So that's why it's very important to have someone in your department who stays on top of it and takes over that responsibility if someone on your staff leaves, because they're the ones who are going to be getting that notification. Do we apply for specific LA28 procurement category in RAMP platform, or do we just create a complete profile to be considered? You need to have a complete profile. What we were trying to do was simply go to LA28 and say, look, we have 150 businesses that classify as venue managers or HR people that are certified as either local, small, minority, women-owned, or various other certification types. But when they come to actually looking for people to send bid information to have them bid on projects, they need your ID to be your account to be as specific and clean and tidy and succinct as possible, because that is how you're going to get the job. Would love to ask, are there opportunities to work for the city of LA or volunteer on initiatives related to LA28, particularly areas like procurement, compliance, or vendor support? To work with the city of LA. That part we're not sure about at this point. We're still a few years out. Most of the things related to LA28 and the Olympics specifically will be LA28 that's doing the bidding or will be doing the procurement aspect of it. They will be the ones hosting those opportunities. The city of Los Angeles, I am sure, will have projects, events, things, who knows what the various departments within the city are going to host and within the county when it comes to it. But at this point, when those happen, those procurement opportunities will be on RAMP, just like everything else. So the best way to look is to have your RAMP account, go and look at what opportunities are out there, make sure that your NAICS codes are appropriate so that if they are looking for something, or if maybe you missed one, maybe you didn't think of a NAICS code, look at the opportunities and be like, oh, wait, I do that too. And then update your account accordingly. That's fine as well. You can add and subtract NAICS codes as you need to. I think you can do 10 in RAMP. I'm not sure, but I think it's 10. You can have quite a few. How do we know what profile info is missing or incorrect? Well, it's your profile. Is your address right? Is your name right? Is your website right? Is your email address correct for someone that still actively works at your company? Is your phone number correct? The certification section, are those the certifications that you've applied for? Are they valid? If they're not, then you would need to update those, reapply, look at the options for what you might want to be certified as now. It's your profile. So you're only going to know if something is missing or incorrect. I'm only saying that what I got on responses saying they had a women business enterprise certification. And then I go and look at the ramp account, and the women business enterprise certification either didn't show on their account, or it showed as rejected, or it showed as expired. So that's what I'm saying, is the information that was put forward was not accurate when I went back to look up all the different accounts. The information on the last slide. Can someone on my team put the link to the interagency exchange sheet in this chat? Let's see. All jobs needed for the Olympics will be posted through Ramp LA. Not jobs specifically, if you're talking about individual employment, but bidding opportunities, procurement opportunities, purchasing opportunities. So employment, no, but procurement, yes. As far as those with LA28 and the city of Los Angeles. There may be other groups out there that are doing events that are related to the Olympics. Those you would need to look and see who is actually producing those, and see how they are going to operate. There are multiple cities. If you look at who they just finalized the last of the venues, I think, for the Olympics. So if you go in and you look and see where certain events are going to be held, it's all over the county, to be honest. I know they're going down to Long Beach. They're all over the place. So those individual cities may also have opportunities that are not going to be on Ramp LA because they're not through LA28 or the city of Los Angeles. So you would need to do your homework and make sure that you're looking at the different agencies where those events are taking place and seeing if they have other opportunities. Now, we are working with those agencies, and hopefully we might be able to cross promote or include it in a newsletter that things are opening, but that's a little far out and we don't have those relationships secured, and how we would do the communicating back and forth. But you would need to look at their procurement sites and how they do the bidding and that sort of stuff. Let's see. We have DBAs that are two sides of the company under one corporation. One is an event management, the other is audio visual equipment vending. Thoughts on whether or not you should have two accounts? Or, I mean, you would have two separate listings, right? Because they're two separate companies. They're bidding independently, but you would need to label them. You would need to have them separated. They may have separate certifications. Having DBAs or having related companies comes into play more with the ones that are size-based, like small business, those sorts of things, because you want to make sure that they are not collectively going over the limits, the financial limits, and those sorts of things. It's totally fine. There are businesses set up like that all the time, but you need to be very clear in which company is which, where they're located, who's bidding on what, and you need to be very upfront about the fact that those businesses are related. We get a lot of certification applications where it's like pulling teeth to get in. We only find out about additional businesses after a considerable amount of back and forth with the company owners, because they don't think it matters, but it very much does. So as long as you're upfront about it and you tell us the whole story, we can try to help figure out the best way for you to go about getting those businesses certified and then being clear about it when you bid. Reach out to review your account. I don't know how I would review your account because only you can tell me what is accurate. So if it's accurate to you, if your account is accurate, then your account is accurate. I can't tell you whether or not it's accurate. I would only be able to say, you check this box that says you have a local business enterprise certification, but you don't on your RAMP account. So that's something that only really you can tell us and you can manage. It's not something that we can tell you whether it's right or wrong on your account. Let's see, nonprofits. There is only one certification type is available to nonprofit agencies. It's the LTE, the Local Transitional Enterprise. It's specifically for businesses who work with transitional employees. I always joke when I present that it doesn't mean to go out and hire your favorite drunk uncle. It means that you really have to have a program that's specifically for people who are coming out of what would we consider transitional? So coming out of the prison system, the foster care system, drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs, those sorts of things. So if you have a program that specifically targets those and positions that are specifically set out for those people, then you would be eligible to get the LTE certification. That said, it doesn't mean that you can't bid on things. You just wouldn't be eligible for the certification type. The city, and this is not in my wheelhouse, but the city also has grants and other things that go and partnerships with nonprofits that are separate from this particular procurement system. So there are avenues available to nonprofits that are not available to general businesses, to for-profit businesses, but that is not something that our section works with. So, street food cinema and TIL events. So street food cinema, I mean, I'm familiar with you guys. So those are two very established companies to me. So you would just need to make it very clear that which of your organizations are bidding on which projects, and getting them certified separately. Tamara Gould. Okay. So if we've applied for a certification and it is pending, we should remove until it was formally approved. So there's no guarantee when you apply for a certification that's going to be approved. So you should never check a box that you have something until you have it. Even if someone is eligible, it doesn't always mean that their certification application is going to be approved, especially the first time out. We get a lot of things where the address on their ramp ID, the address on their Secretary of State, the address on their tax form, like those don't match. And for the LBE certification, it's very much about where your location is. So when addresses don't match, that means it's denied. It could be something you could quickly fix and reapply. So very much, please do not say you have something until you have it. Like I said earlier, it's not a fake it till you make it kind of situation. If you're telling a procurement manager that you have a certification and you don't have the certification, you're just going to get removed from the bidding process. Now, if it's in process, you should tell them that after you've applied, but don't check the box that you have it. Sorry, I just got a message. We don't have the ability to put the link in the chat, but we can send it out afterwards. We'll send it to the same email addresses that we have, that we sent the link out to. So that shouldn't be a problem. We'll get it to you later. You can also go to bca.lacity.org, I think is the website. bca.lacity.gov/contracting. And go down to certifications and programs and applications. And at the bottom of the page is the link that was in the PowerPoint. Let's see, what are some social service examples? Was that one of the categories? We'll come back to that one, social service examples. Or do you mean for NAICS codes? I would have to go to NAICS.com and look it up. So you would need to do the same. There are thousands and thousands of NAICS codes. By no stretch of the imagination do I have them all memorized. If the certifications on our accounts are listed as verified on our account, then everything should be good to go. Yes, that is correct. But you still need to keep an eye on them because they do expire. So just make sure you're monitoring your account periodically and you know when those things are going on, and make sure again that the email address that's in there as the account manager is the correct person, because that is who's going to be notified when you're about to expire. Do businesses in service industries like tech and consulting need specific licenses to operate like construction industry does? It depends on which NAICS code you want to use. I would say probably not a lot. Tech maybe more so than consulting. Consulting is very broad. If you're telling someone that you consult on something that's very specific, that might need to be, you might need to be certified or have a license in whatever that is. If you're consulting on brain surgery, I would hope you had a medical degree. If you're consulting on how to reboot your computer, probably not. So you would need to be very specific about what technologies and what consulting services, and look at the NAICS codes that are available and see which one applies to you and if there are certifications related to those. Social service examples. It was a category on the list. Can't think of any off the top of my head. Social services. Let me see if I can find one for you as we're sitting here in real time. Any other questions while I'm looking that one up? So looking at the NAICS codes options for social services, social networks and internet, social science research and development services, social clubs, social service advocacy organizations, mediation product services, except lawyer, attorney, paralegal, or social services, referral services for personal and social problems, community meals and social services, data processing services. There's a lot on this list when I look up social services. So you would need to see which of those categories fit your business description. And that would be the answer. Barbershops is one of the listings. Probation officers, 1 hour photo finishing, credit bureaus. It's services. It's kind of a catch-all category. Let's see. Explain leasing and developing opportunities. You mean the kind of opportunities that will be available? We don't really know at this point, but I'm sure that they will be needing office space. They will be needing production offices. They will be needing dormitories. They will be needing sports. I know the teams come early, usually within the year or two before the Olympics, so that their athletes can practice working in our environment, our humidity, our elevation levels, our heat. It gets very hot here in the summer, and a lot of people live in countries where they don't have that kind of heat. So there will be continuing opportunities for leasing and development when it comes to those sorts of facilities that they're going to need. Development probably more around sports arenas, as far as building or adding to things that are already there to facilitate their needs for the current games. If you are able to find more appropriate ones for ceremonies and events, that would be amazing. Ceremonies and events. Anything to do with some event companies, lighting companies. You would need to go to NAICS, and you need to know, this is about you knowing what you offer and looking at the NAICS codes and finding out which ones best suit your needs. So you need to put out there what you do, more than I can tell you what the options are. The presentation slides, yeah, we'll probably put this presentation on our website. I'm not sure which one. We'll send out what we can through the email that we sent out the links to. The slides and the links. Any more questions? Someone has your hand raised. Is it David Komodzinski?
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, how are you? Yes, I have a question here. So we actually are a general contractors, but also we have a non-profit. And just a question, can non-profit also participate here? are there any opportunities for nonprofits?
It depends on what the nonprofit does. So prior to coming to the city, I used to work for Homeboy Industries. Homeboy Industries has a bunch of different businesses within it, right?
So we
So,
have youth services.
so the issue is not, what you need to do is look at what's being bid on. You need an account. Nonprofits are welcome to have Ramp LA accounts. They are welcome to bid on things based on what their organization supplies. For instance, Homeboy Industries, they have a silk screen business and embroidery. So if there was a bid out for someone who needed t-shirts made or swag, that kind of stuff, they could bid on it. They would not be eligible for most of the certification types that are out there, like local business or minority owned or women owned. Most certification types are strictly for for-profit businesses, but they would not be restricted from bidding on contracts.
All right. Okay. Okay. So anyway, nonprofits are welcome.
They are welcome to bid, yes.
Yeah.
They are limited in which certifications they're eligible for.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anyone else? And no one else has any more questions? It's not even noon. Ah, here's one. Go ahead.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. My name is Yerlan Kakianov, and I would like to ask, is there any opportunity to being volunteer or work with the LA28? It's very interesting for us.
You would need to go to LA28 and ask them that. LA28 is a completely separate organization. They have their own website. I know that they are hiring. I don't know what their volunteer opportunities look like, but that would be where you would go. I'm sure there will be other organizations that participate along the way and they'll put out calls for volunteers, but LA28, I think it's .org, would be where you would need to go to inquire about volunteer opportunities, especially this early in the game.
Thank you. I appreciate.
You're welcome. Anyone else? I know there were a few questions in the chat that I couldn't quite answer, so if you want to ask the question in person, feel free to raise your hand and I'll unmute you. I have reviewed my Ramp LA account and confirm all my information is up to date and I'm able to see matching opportunities for LA County through Ramp. It sounds like you're good to go. If you look at your account and everything in there is true and correct, and your business is exactly the way it is, the contact information is correct, and you can see opportunities where you might match, it sounds like you're good enough. It sounds like you're good to go. There may be additional opportunities and different certification types and other things that you might want to research, but it sounds like as it is, my only recommendation for you going forward is when you fill out a questionnaire or you get a bid request or you see opportunities, that you make sure that the way that you're answering is reflected in that Ramp account. So don't say you have a NAICS code if you don't have a NAICS code. Don't say you have a certification if you don't have a certification. So just make sure that what you're putting out there and what you're selling of yourself is what is represented in your account. Will the bidding process come entirely through Ramp LA or for LA28? As far as we know at this point, most of it will be through LA20, through Ramp. They've already had some stuff on their website, early like bench inquiries and those sorts of things. Okay, Mercedes, go ahead. Mercedes?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Yes, hi. Yes, I have a animation production company and we specialize in like custom made logos, branding. We can do marketing brochures and even do little animation shorts with motion graphics assets. Is this something that is definitely needed? I just wanted to know because I don't have anyone kind of going ahead of me, so I feel like I'm kind of charting new territory.
Obviously there are huge portions, especially for all of you event, entertainment, video companies, that sort of stuff. There are lots of pieces of that puzzle that are not out in the open yet that we don't know about. We don't know what the opening ceremony is going to look like. We don't know what sort of video packages they're going to want. We don't know how many, I mean, you saw Paris, you know, they're coming down the river and there were just so many different, we have no idea what they are planning for that at this point. But when they know, they will post those opportunities online. So I cannot say it is something they need for sure, but I also know that there's a tremendous amount of production involved in the Olympics. And so it can't hurt to be prepared to bid on those opportunities when they arise, if they arise. We don't know at this point what they need, but I'm sure it's LA. I'm sure they will have a pretty big production aspect to it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. Anyone else? I just unmuted someone. Andy?
Yeah, hey, how's it going? Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
So will there be some sort of boot camp or class later on to kind of talk about what the Olympic Committee or whoever's going to be the primes, what the compliance is going to look like, or the bidding process, if they're going to have anything particular to like the Olympics, just so we know how to cross our T's and dot our I's correctly?
We are working with LA28 quite a bit to get their vision, I guess would be the best way to put it. When it comes to meeting the requirements and exactly, that will be in every single bid. Just like if you've ever bid on a city contract, what they require, what sort of rules, regulations, compliance, all of those sorts of things, that's going to be included in the bid, just like it is for any other procurement project. There may be things that they're procuring on their own. I mean, I'm sure LA28 as an organization, I mean, they probably have their own Office Depot supply account. Like they're not procuring things in the way that the city does, but for these large projects, those will be out there. We are planning to have a lot of trainings for people, but we wanted to have this meeting ahead of time because we got such a mixed bag of responses to our inquiry that we realized people weren't even necessarily knowing what we were talking about. So, and we want to make sure we target that, because if you're already a big business with, you know, a valid ramp account, you have 1 million certifications, you've already bid on things and you know how to get a city contract, like you don't need to be in certifications 101. Like, right? Like, so we don't want to just make it blanket. We want to make sure that the right people are in the right classes. And if someone is sitting in a class where it's very detailed on procurement and they just opened their business 6 months ago, they're not going to be in the same readiness. They're not going to have the same capacity that someone who's more established would. So that's why we wanted to make sure that people knew what was out there and what we needed from them in order to get that ball rolling and make sure that we are giving the right information to the right people. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, so on that topic, I know you talked about it earlier, but just to reiterate, you did mention there's a lot of people that submitted incorrect or missing information. So just to double check, just having our information correct on Ramp LA is enough for you guys to look at, right? Or is there another?
It just means that you're ready to go. If a bid opens, right, and they are looking for someone with your NAICS codes and they're looking for someone who has your certification types, you're ready to go, right? You could bid, everything is there, it's accurate. Some of the people that we were getting responses from said that they were X, Y, and Z with, you know, all these different CERs, but they weren't, or they were expired, or whatever. So they could bid, but they would have gotten booted. So we just wanted to make people understand your ramp account, your certification statuses, your NAICS codes. These are what matter. How you are represented in your ramp account is vital for you to be able to bid successfully on anything that the city, LA28, anybody on ramp has, the county, like that's what they're looking at. It's not as much, it's very much what you present in your ramp account that's going to get you to the next step.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Raised hands, chats. Let's see. Applied. We have applied for the LBE certification. We have not heard back, providing anything in additional. How long has anything take? Okay, the certification question. Unfortunately, we have a large volume of applications and a limited number of staff. So it takes sometimes 3 or 4 months for us to get to your application. So once we get it, it will be assigned to an analyst, and that person will reach out to you and request additional information. Namely, if it's an LBE certification, they're going to want your lease or your sublease with a master lease. They're going to want your tax information. They're going to list it out for you. That is when the actual review process starts. But unfortunately, it does take a little bit of time before we get there. That said, I want you to know that if you are if you are already starting to bid, if your company is already at that level, especially those of you that are like on more the construction tech side of thing that might be bidding on like DWP projects. If your status as an LBE business impacts the bid that you are working on, you need to reach out to the project manager who is assigned to that bid in that department. Because if it does in fact affect who's going to get the bid, then they will reach out to us and we will process it for them. But that has to come from the department that's managing the opportunity, and it has to be requested by them. We can't do that for the actual applicant. So I'm just putting that out there. If you happen to be bidding on something and it's important to that particular bid, please reach out to that project manager that you're working with. If not, then yes, it is a bit of a slow go, and we apologize for that. But like I said, high volume, limited number of staff, and also make sure that your documentation is accurate and complete. I always tell people that when it comes to reviewing LBE paperwork, we could probably, if we had a complete package of information that had everything accurate and complete, we could probably do it in a day or two. But to get to the point of having all of those accurate documents sometimes takes weeks. It's like pulling teeth from people to get the documentation that we need. So just be prepared. You get a certain amount of time to respond to us. Sometimes it's 14 days, sometimes it's 30 days, depending on the certification type. Don't take the full time. Make sure the time is accurate. We can only go as fast as you are providing information and as accurately as you're providing information. So keep that in mind when we do reach out for information. Will LA28 connect small businesses with prime contractors? I don't know at this time. It depends on what the nature of the bid is, I would guess, and I would need LA28 to weigh in on that and speak for themselves. I don't know. You're welcome, SH. I don't know who you are, but you're welcome. Anyone else have anything? We really, really, really want everybody to be as prepared as possible. And I cannot reiterate, I've said it a million times, but just your ramp account is so important to these contracts, and what you're putting out there, and knowing who you are, knowing what you do, knowing what you sell, knowing what services you provide or what goods you can provide. That is so important for these opportunities in order for you to be eligible for them. Anyone else? Okay. I think that's it. If no one has any more questions, or you can always reach out to me. My email is melissa.savage. My name is on my photo there, at lacity.org. Feel free to email or bca.certifications@lacity.org. That's a general one, but it is checked every single day. Yeah, chance I'm off or on vacation or something. So if no one has anything else, then we'll go ahead and end it early. It's just before noon. You can have your lunch back. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.